Hello everybody, Avian Solar here, but for those of you who do not know me, I'm a recruit training officer with the Kavala Police Department on the Grand Theft Armor role-playing server, and today I'm going to go through your PCSO Module 1 training with you. This training will cover ranks within the police, promotions, PCSO equipment, the limitations of being a PCSO, a basic look at communications, and finally some important procedures we need to let you know about before you join the server as a PCSO. There are 12 different ranks within the police force, the lowest being Police Community Support Officer and the highest being Chief Constable. As you progress through the ranks, you get access to better weapons, a wider variety of equipment, uniform and vehicles. However, you're also expected to take more responsibility, have better leadership skills, role-playing skills, as well as a better knowledge of both the server and police rules. To get promoted to PC from PCSO, you first need to complete the 3 training modules, Training 1 that you are doing now, Training 2 which is around combat and roleplay, Training 3 on communication and procedures. You then need to get 3 different RTOs to give you positive feedback, pass an assess patrol, be in the academy for a minimum of 2 days, and play at least 5 hours as a police officer. Please be warned, if you do not complete these within 7 days, you might be removed from the police force. So if for whatever reason you are struggling or you're not going to be able to do this, please do contact an SRTO or CRTO who will be able to assist you. Once you're a police constable, it's up to your department management to decide when or if to promote you. And when considering this, they will take into account your activity, feedback you have given, feedback you have received from other officers, willingness to step up and take charge of situations, your participation in special departments, as well as your attitude. Let us now talk about some of the equipment you have access to as a PCSO. Here you can see George, a PCSO currently going through the academy. He's wearing the blue uniform that all PCSOs are required to wear, as well as his police tactical vest. He carries with him a taser based on the 4.5 pistol, which has a maximum effective range of 50 meters and will fire a single shot every 2 to 3 seconds. If this single shot is to hit someone within 50 meters, it will stun them, giving you plenty of time to run up and restrain them. As his primary weapon, however, George carries a stun gun. This is a 9mm submachine gun based on the Sting and has an effective range around 200 meters. It can fire both semi and fully automatic and has a magazine of 30 rounds. Unlike the taser, however, it does require multiple hits to stun somebody. These weapons are both regarded as being less than lethal. However, they should never be used against vehicles or helicopters, as this could stun the driver while they're driving and cause an accident. On the server, this is regarded as exploiting and can get you kicked from the police and banned. You should also never use them against other officers outside of a training situation. I will now talk about some of the restrictions placed on you as a PCSO. For a start, you don't have access to any lethal firearms. This is to protect you while you are still learning, to stop you making any mistakes to having to comp anybody. You are very limited in the equipment you can get from the police vendor, and only have access to the tactical vest and the Rangemaster belt. As far as uniforms go, as mentioned before, you only have access to the blue uniform. Vehicles wise, you can only pull out a hatchback or a quad bike. You are not allowed to leave the Kavala green zone without an SPC or above, or without an RTO. You are not allowed to attend any red or blue zone operations such as banks, ghost hotel or power plant. and as a member of the police force you are no longer allowed to play as a civilian. However, if you are members of another whitelisted faction such as HATO or NHS, this is allowed. Let us move on to talk about communications. Due to the size of the police force, it is not practical for us all to be in one channel on TeamSpeak at a time. So because of this, we have 17 channels for regular patrol, 3 channels for bank operations, and 3 channels for tactical operations. To communicate between the different channels, we use whispers, and a video explaining how to set up your whispers can be found in the description below. I will not go into them in detail here, as they will be covered in your Module 3 training as well as the whisper setup video. However, I want to quickly go over a few rules for whispering. For a start, never interrupt someone who is already whispering. This will lead to the whispers overlapping and no one being able to understand what's being said. Remember to hold down the whisper key for 2 to 3 seconds before talking. Otherwise, the other person will not be able to hear the start of your whisper. And remember to follow the whisper structure at all times. The whisper structure is as follows. You start with your call sign, then the call sign who you are trying to get a hold of, a situation, a request if you have one, and then you end the whisper. An example would be Romeo 1 to Kilo 4, Avion is initiated with DSR at the Topolia gas station. I need assistance, over. This follows all the components of the whisper structure and it's quite clear what I'm requesting. Notice I spoke very calmly, quite slowly, and I made it clear. If you get panicked and you rush, then people might not be able to understand what's being said. I want to quickly take this opportunity to talk about in-channel communications as well. We all like to have a joke and a laugh at times, however, please use your common sense. If there is a situation ongoing, or someone is role-playing, please keep communications to a minimum so they can hear what's happening in game. Moving on, I will now cover some important procedures you need to know about before joining the server as a police officer. Never drop any items on patrol or in the PD, always sell them back to the vendor. An exception to this, however, is toolkits. You may drop a toolkit for a civilian who needs to repair their vehicle. Do not use lethal force against any unarmed civilians. Do not finish or execute anyone without a good reason. Make sure you check the handbook regularly before pulling any new vehicle or wearing any new uniform to make sure you're allowed to do so. Always follow the chain of command. And do not initiate on someone unless you intend to arrest them. In the description below you'll find some useful links to the aid memoir that's been designed to help new PCSOs, a link to the video guide of how to set up your whispers, a link to the police handbook, a link to a guide of how to be an operations commander, and a link to the PCSO progress tracker which you can use to track your progress through the academy. To complete this training, please now contact an RTO who will ask you a few questions about what you've learned, and when prompted, give them the passcode Rolling Checkpoint. Finally, I would like to thank PCSO George and Inspector Loki for their aid with the footage in this video. Hope you have a good day and I hope you have a good time in the police force.